Hi friends, welcome to Law Chat 101. This is Girija, your legal BFF. I am really happy to be with you here today. Today's episode is basically all about how to navigate those sticky situations when you cannot meet your deliverables, whether it's a service or a product. How do you navigate that and how do you talk to your clients about that? Or the third party, the recipient of those deliverables. So I have 5 tips with me, so make sure that you are staying tuned till the end to get all 5 tips. But before we do that, 2 things. Number 1, please subscribe and share this YouTube episode with others, because that is the only way others can also benefit from this information. But then also this YouTube channel will also get lots of recognition. And so it'll be helpful to everybody in the community because there's such helpful tips out there, practical, helpful tips. And I know they're helpful to you. So subscribe, like, and share, please. Number 2, the information that I am sharing is for educational and informational purposes only. This information is not meant to be for any one particular business or individual, and it does not create attorney-client relationship nor privilege. Okay, let's get started. So, 5 ways to navigate those icky, sticky situations when you cannot meet the deliverables, you cannot follow through with the promises that you have put in place in a contract with your client, with your vendor, any third-party recipient. Number 1, when something is happening and you can see it and you're acknowledging it in your business, you need to recognize it and acknowledge it. Don't just hang out and let time pass and then see what happens, because you know when the deadlines are, you know the problems that are happening, and it might be because of some other third party that you're receiving some deliverables for, which basically is conditional upon your delivering something to somebody. So acknowledge and recognize. And when you have acknowledged and you've recognized, have these conversations with your team or even the people that you are working with on how quickly can we get this done? What is holding us back? What are some roadblocks that is delaying our process or delaying our deliverables? And once you have a clearer picture of your story and what's happening on your end, you can then move forward to find solutions. Number 2, read your contract. You need to know what your contract says, not just with the person that you are maybe perhaps getting the deliverables to deliver to the third party, but also your contract with your client or with the recipient of the products or the services that you are delivering. So read that contract, see what it says. Tell you how to handle the situation. Does it tell you that there's a notice period? Because all contracts should have a notice period. And notice periods are basically to give notification to the other party when there is something material that is happening in the business or contractual relationship that would actually impact that relationship. And deliverables not coming on time is pretty material. And so generally the notice clause in your contract tells you how to handle the notification process. So it's not just necessarily an email that you're sending out, but it could perhaps be even a phone call or maybe a written letter that needs to go by certified mail. But make sure that you're giving proper notice under the contract, and also look at the termination clause in your contract. What does it say? What are the reasons for terminating a contract? And how do you follow that process? And what does that look like? Have a working knowledge of it. Not that you're following that termination, but in the event you need to, you already have a working knowledge of what your contract says. Another thing that your contract should have is it might have a clause in there about things that are delayed on your end. Whether that is a product or service, does your clause have something in there to speak about, well, what if there are delays or what if there are cancellations on your end? What do you do? And so when you have a working knowledge of the contract, you also know what the end result might be and how the situation might be ultimately. But we don't necessarily want to be at the ultimate spot. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is educate yourself on your contract, be prepared, and have those conversations that you might need to have based on your contract. So you can defer to the contract as a starting point rather than deferring to it afterwards or saying, hey, this is how we have to do it. Nope, it's just a starting point. And that's just basically like your compass, like, okay, this is how we need to do it. So make sure you read that contract. Number 3, you want to have an effective plan of action. Have a game plan. Don't just walk into that conversation with your recipient or the person who you have that contractual obligation with without a game plan. Have some strategies in place. Have some alternative solutions in place. Have a game plan on when you perhaps will be getting that deliverable ready and prepared to be delivered to your client or to that third-party recipient. And so have that information out there. And if you don't know, that's okay too. Give yourself permission to not know all the answers, but make sure you can effectively communicate that with your client. So have a game plan. Know the different alternatives that you might be giving or the solutions that you might be offering and the reality of the situation. Paint a picture for them. Have in that picture why there are delays, what are the reasons of those delays, and how you are trying to minimize and mitigate the delays so it won't be impacting your recipient in a way that's negative. And so if you have that conversation, but you're prepared for it, it'll be easier because you know what talking points you want to have in that conversation and what's important to have in that conversation as well. Number 4, you want to have that conversation, okay? So have effective communication with your recipient. Now, whether that's a client, again, or a third-party vendor or somebody else, have effective communication with them. Draw them a picture, paint them a picture, tell them what you're doing, share with them what the problem is, share with them the solutions. Also ask them, how is this impacting you? And is there something else that we can do to make this better? What can we do? This conversation is going to be a precursor to any other conversations that might turn out to be a little hostile or negative in nature. So this conversation is actually the one that you want to lay out the foundation of, we're working on this together. We're trying to find a solution to this together, and not I am done, I can't help you, this is what my contract says, and no. Don't make this hostile. This is a conversation between you and somebody that you have trusted to work with, and they have trusted to work with you, and you're collaborating with them. So have a friendly conversation with them where they can continue to trust you and know that you're on their side. And this is also a great conversation to ask them where you're kind of figuring out a middle ground on how to resolve this issue. And when you can resolve these kind of issues, you can resolve much bigger issues also that might pop up in that contractual relationship as well. So be open, be effective, have that game plan out there, share it with them, and then ask them also how they perceive this to be a solution or what other solutions that they might bring to the table. And this is a great way to find and negotiate in a friendly manner rather than having to take it to the next level, which could be mediation or arbitration or trial, and nobody wants to go there. That's a lot of money, a lot of time put out there, and a lot of stress and negative energy going into your body and into your business. So why don't we just effectively communicate and have that meeting with them where it's friendly, it's decisive, and it's solution finding. And number 5, the solutions that you are finding, be diligent about it, be thorough about it. When you are at mistake or when you are at fault, up that game with yours. Level it up, notch it up a bit, and make it better. You know the areas that you can make better, and you also know the areas on how to make that recipient feel better about the situation. Now, whether that is the solutions that you have already found together and sticking to them, but also maybe adding a few extra perks here and there so that they are happier and you're giving them a better customer experience or a client experience or a vendor, whatever third-party vendor experience that you're wanting to give them. But take it up a notch, because goodwill goes a long way, a very, very long way. And it's really important to make sure that you are creating that goodwill as you are moving along in your business journey, and you're not burning bridges. So one of the best ways to do that is, of course, follow the solutions that you've come up with, have those conversations, be clear, be effective, be communicative with your recipient and even with your team and everybody else that's working on the back end with you, and follow through with them and maybe add some extra perks to make everybody happy and pacify the negative feelings that might be there. And of course, don't be afraid to negotiate or go back and talk about things if something is happening. And don't be afraid to show leverage where you need to show leverage and grace where you need to show grace. Now, I hope this was helpful to you. And these are 5 ways to really effectively navigate those icky situations where you just cannot live up to the promised deliverables of products or services in your side. If this was helpful to you, subscribe so you will not miss any more Law Chat 101s coming your way, or Law Chat with Girija episodes with amazing entrepreneurs and industry leaders, where mentorship is happening through their stories, through their experiences, through their journeys. And please share with others. That would be such a great favor to me and a gift to me as well, where I can share this information with a larger and wider community. I appreciate you listening and tuning in, and thank you so much. Until next time.